So my topic is people with memory loss, and I'm sorry I couldn't present this earlier with you guys. I was just feeling so sick, but I'm feeling a little bit better now. So yeah, I studied people with memory loss. Um, I learned that there are a lot of things that can cause memory loss. Alzheimer's disease, chemotherapy, heart surgery, head injuries, vitamin deficiencies, thyroid problems, strokes, brain tumors, and the list goes on and on actually. There's so many things that can cause memory loss. Some temporary and some permanent. And what got me interested in this is I worked as an EFY health counselor and EMT in 2019, and there was a kid who had frequent seizures, and we found out that the previous year he actually had a traumatic brain injury, and it caused him to forget 9 months of his life. He forgot the previous 9 months. And he was so positive and he was a good sport about it, but I just thought how hard that would be to wake up one morning and and you all of a sudden your brother's home from a mission, or you have a girlfriend that you don't know, or so that just got me really interested in this topic. And as I started to learn more about it, I kind of focused in on Alzheimer's disease because that's the most prevalent cause of memory loss in the United States. Almost 6 million people have Alzheimer's in the US. It's projected to grow to more than 14 million by 2060. And it's the fifth most common cause of death for people 65 and older. At first, I was thinking, okay, how I sort of know what Alzheimer's is, like it's kind of a neurodegenerative disease, but how does it cause death? And I learned that Alzheimer's can become so severe that you don't only forget names of people you love or forget experiences, but you can lose the ability to swallow. You can lose the ability to eat. You can lose the ability to take care of yourself, to get dressed, to shower. And so people can actually um, choke on food or things like that because of Alzheimer's, and it can cause death. There's a slight racial disparity among those 65 and older with Alzheimer's. African Americans have the highest prevalence. 13.8% of people 65 and older who are African Americans have Alzheimer's, as opposed to on the lower end of the spectrum, Asian and Pacific Islanders, only 8.4% of those older than 65 have Alzheimer's. Over 85 years of age in the US, it's about 50% of those over 85 have Alzheimer's. Those with Alzheimer's can experience a lot of emotional distress, just like you and I when we walk into a room and we forget why we walked into that room or what we're going to grab. It can be frustrating. And so to experience that every day, it can be so frustrating and so discouraging for them to not realize how they got somewhere, or not realize who they're with, or not realize what just happened, and it can be really discouraging and stressful to them. They can experience a lot of emotional disconnect with them and their loved ones because they often forget experiences and forget names. That would be such a hard thing to deal with, just thinking about a parent or a grandparent that you love so much that you spent your whole life with, and they can no longer remember your name or things like that. They require complete reliance on others. There are different stages of Alzheimer's. Stage 1 often doesn't have any symptoms. You can be in stage 1 for 20 years and not have any symptoms. Stage 2 is when you start having mild symptoms. Stage 3 is when you require complete reliance on others. And this can lead to what they call compassion fatigue. Oftentimes the caregivers, that's all they do. 100% of the time they're just helping people with Alzheimer's. So not only does it create a vulnerability or difficulty for the patients with Alzheimer's, but also for their caregivers. So there's no cure for Alzheimer's. But it's interesting, research shows that the same behaviors that lower the prevalence of heart disease and heart attacks and strokes also lower the prevalence of Alzheimer's or decrease the likelihood of developing it. So things like blood pressure, managing that, or decreasing obesity and not smoking have beneficial impacts in terms of Alzheimer's as well. A lot of research has been done on vitamins and supplements that can have a positive effect on our brain function as well. So vitamin E, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids can have a positive effect. So people who take supplements of those generally have healthier cognitive function. So the focus right now in healthcare providers, since they can't really stop it, they don't really know how to cure it, the focus right now is they focus on early diagnosis because that can help them catch it early and know how to at least prepare people for Alzheimer's and prepare their families for it. And healthy lifestyle and diet and mental exercise can also be beneficial for those, for preventing Alzheimer's and decreasing the severity of it. Another big focus is caregiver training and support groups, because as I said before, it's not only a big burden for the person with Alzheimer's, but also their family and their caregivers. Some of the organizations that I researched were the Alzheimer's organization, which mostly focuses on educating people about Alzheimer's and connecting them to different support groups. So it was interesting. There are a bunch of support groups in Utah, and they meet every week through Zoom and talk about the difficulties of being a caregiver. University of Utah focuses on diagnosing early through imaging and stuff like that. And visiting angels, these are people who go to people's houses often and care for them there instead of going to a assisted living center and stuff like that. So these are all the things that organizations are attempting to do to help those with Alzheimer's and also help those caring for people with Alzheimer's.